Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Everyone feels sleepy? Everyone, are you sober? Okay, so magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Distinguished delegates, esteemed guests, partners, and most especially our friends joining us from across ASEAN and around the world. To our foreign delegates, welcome to the Philippines. Welcome to a community of young leaders who believe that borders are not barriers, but bridges of collaboration, innovation, and shared progress. Today, as we gather for the second day of the ASEAN Youth Business Summit, we are reminded of the words of our national hero, the Philippine national hero, Dr. José Rizal. The youth is the hope of our nation. But today, I say the youth is the hope of our region and the hope of our world. Because when we look around us, we cannot ignore the challenges we face. A world recovering from a pandemic, ongoing wars dividing nations, rising oil prices affecting economies and livelihoods, uncertainty shaping the future of businesses and communities. And we ask, why is this happening? In many ways, it comes down to two things: money and ego. The pursuit of power without purpose, growth without responsibility, progress without unity. But here's the reason why we are all here today. We all chose differently. You choose to be here not as spectators of the world's problem, but as builders of its solutions. You are entrepreneurs, innovators, policymakers, and the leaders who believe that business is not just about profit, but about purpose. Not just about competition, but about collaboration. As inspired by a world often attributed to Sherlock Holmes, if politics can divide us, business can build us. And that is exactly what we are doing here. We are building partnerships, we are building opportunities, we are building a stronger, more connected ASEAN. So today, I challenge each of you. Use your voice. Share your ideas, create impact, and most importantly, build something that goes beyond yourself. Something that uplifts communities and shapes the future. Because the world doesn't just need leaders. It needs leaders who choose to care, to act, and to unite. Once again, welcome to the second day of the ASEAN Youth Business Summit. Let's build the future together.
Thank you very much, distinguished guests and participants. Good morning. Magandang umaga. It's good to see that we have a mix of representatives from the Philippines, ASEAN member states, and our dialogue partners. Now, DTI, the Department of Trade and Industry, is the lead government agency spearheading initiatives under the ASEAN Economic Community. So today, I will be speaking of the role of the youth, what you can do to support AEC community building, and how you are the future of ASEAN. 10 years ago, building a business across ASEAN required three things: scale, capital, and connections. But today, that model is being challenged. Sometimes you just need a laptop, a small team, and most importantly, a good idea. That's how fast the ground has shifted. And that's why this room matters, why the youth matters. This summit is not just another event. It is a gathering of people who are already shaping the future of ASEAN. You have in this room founders, innovators, investors, policymakers. You are the ones making it happen. So on behalf of the DTI, it is my pleasure to join you today, and Undersecretary Alan Hepty sends his warm regards and full support for this gathering. When we talk about ASEAN's future, we are not just talking about something far away. We're not looking 10 years, 20 years ahead. We are talking about what you are building right now. It is no secret that ASEAN is one of the youngest regions in the world. More than half of our population is under 35. I am probably affecting the average age of this room, but you are definitely below 35. But youth is not just, an advantage on its own. It only becomes an advantage when you partner it with action. And across Southeast Asia, we are already seeing what that action looks like. A young founder will start a small online business. Within months, this founder will have customers across the region, across borders. The payment for this business, it's not going to be cash, it's going to be digital. Logistics, it's not city-based, it's not region-based, it will be ASEAN-wide. And their marketing, borderless. They don't just market to their local economy, but to a region as a whole. And this story is not unusual. It is becoming the norm. And it tells us something critical. The gap between a local idea and a regional business is slowly shrinking every day. Let's look at a real-life example. There was once a simple idea. How I wish this started in the Philippines. That idea was to make everyday transport safer and more convenient. Not everyone can afford a car. Parking is difficult. So there was this one entrepreneur who thought, how do I make it safer? How do I make it more convenient and accessible? This started in one ASEAN country. Do you have any idea what this company is? Grab, I heard that. Today, Grab operates in multiple markets, connecting millions of users, drivers, and small businesses. And it has not stopped with Grab. There are now many players in this industry. Hopefully, it increases so that there's more competition and we have lower fees. I know search pricing is quite high, especially here in the Philippines. So how did Grab grow? It was step by step. It was market by market. They partnered with local ecosystems, they adapt, they learned, they scale. And that's what building in ASEAN looks like. You're not just copying and pasting. People ask, did Grab just copy Uber? No. You may be inspired by other business ideas, but what makes you successful in ASEAN is you keep to your roots, you stay local, you understand the region. So learning, adapting, and scaling regionally. And here's the thing. This approach is now available to all of you. Tools are becoming more accessible, networks are more open. The region is more connected than ever through the ASEAN Economic Community. But let's be honest. Too many businesses still grow inside our borders. Partnerships often stay local when they can be regional. Many ideas nowadays are fashioned for one market instead of ASEAN as a region. And that's where hopefully this summit comes in and inspires you, the young generation, to come in. Not just to build businesses, but to build a business that is ASEAN ready from day one. Here's the challenge that we pose to the private sector, whether it is those big conglomerates or young entrepreneurs. Stop thinking of ASEAN as 11 separate countries, 11 separate markets. Start thinking of it as one connected opportunity that is being built. Don't wait for ASEAN to become fully integrated before adopting your ideas to such. Don't wait for an ASEAN Economic Union, like the EU, to be launched before adopting that regional approach. Build your business as if ASEAN is already that union, and help governments in ASEAN make it real. Let's make this a bit more practical. When you're building a product, developing a service, ask yourself, can this work in another ASEAN market? There is this Philippine delicacy called puto. It is a rice cake. Every ASEAN member state has its own version of puto. It will probably be a different flavor, sometimes a different color. But more than ASEAN, ASEAN's dialogue partners, Japan will have some version of this, China will have some version of it, Korea will also have some version of puto. So when you develop that product, you ask yourselves, how do I sell it to the Philippines? What does the Philippine palate want? But more than that, how can I bring it to other member states? When you're raising capital, you ask yourself, can this scale regionally? There are now many platforms that ASEAN supports that brings young entrepreneurs with venture capitalists across the region, because we believe your ideas are not just for the local market. When you form partnerships, ask yourself from the get-go, who outside my home country should I already be working with? Who in this room, whose business card, IG handle, who should you get? It is platforms like this where we encourage you to think regionally, not just locally. These are just small shifts, but they have big impact. Because the businesses that will define ASEAN's future aren't the ones that will stay local. They're the ones that go regional first. These are the grab of the region. This year, the Philippines is honored to serve as the chair of ASEAN under the theme, Navigating Our Future Together. And let me tell you, we did not think the current state of the global economy will be as such when we developed this theme more than a year ago. The environment we are facing today is not simple. Supply chains are shifting. Technology moves faster than policy. Global uncertainty keeps changing the rules. Every time we wake up and Trump says something at night, you have to revisit what was the plan for the day or for the week. Global uncertainty keeps changing the rules. If not daily, then sometimes hourly. But that uncertainty is not a problem. It is an opportunity. And that's where young entrepreneurs like yourselves, young policymakers, you have the clear edge in this uncertain environment. You're not stuck in legacy systems. You're very comfortable with change. As a millennial, I'm not comfortable with change. I like structure. But the youth today, they embrace it. You thrive in environments that are constantly evolving. Because let's face it, you were born in an uncertain world. And as the ASEAN chair this year, we have set strategies to guide the evolution, to guide us through uncertainty. The very important role of the ASEAN chair is to guide the region on what we will do each year. We can't just be doing things on our own. There has to be a framework guiding the cooperation and way forward. And the Philippines is guiding the ASEAN economic community through 5 thrusts summarized as SAIL ASEAN, which is flashed on screen. I will not go through them one by one, but instead, I will run through them and explain what they mean for the public, for entrepreneurs, for the youth. Just promise me before the day ends, you will take a video promoting our thrust. It's very simple. We usually stand and say, SAIL ASEAN. SAIL ASEAN. So what does this mean for you? So first, the S, build across borders early. So I emphasized this earlier, think regional. Even a small step like testing a product in a new market. Asking someone you met today from another country, what do you think of my idea? That can already reshape your business. Why? Because ASEAN will further deepen economic connections across the region. It's not just developing our own countries, but how do we enable our businesses to sell abroad? How do we enable our professionals to work abroad? How do we attract investments from abroad? ASEAN is also working to strengthen supply chains and creating business opportunities across borders. If there are any online entrepreneurs here, every August 8, we hold an ASEAN online sale date. So this is August 8, coincides with the 8/8 online sales. But what we do there is we handpick several businesses and we heavily promote them across member states so that your products, your services reach a broader audience. Second, use technology to scale, not just operate. The buzzword now is the digital economy. Digital tools, they are not just there to support your business. This is going to be your gateway to the region. Let's admit it, not everyone can open a local office, an actual shop abroad. So this is why the digital economy is key. And more than that, the digital economy is growing rapidly. Again, as a millennial, I still prefer to buy things in person. But right now, a huge part of commerce is being done online. You just need your phone. There's e-commerce, there's fintech, digital payments, and slowly but surely, AI is also coming into play. Technology is opening new opportunities for businesses to innovate and scale. Third, we talk about integrating ASEAN's SME development agenda. Make sure you grow with others. No business scales alone. Your network is your secret superpower. So make sure as you grow, as you develop, you nurture these partnerships and network, and you grow together. Fourth, invest in ideas rooted in our identity, in ASEAN identity. ASEAN's culture, creativity, and diversity are strengths. They are not limits. Harness the creative economy. Believe it or not, in ASEAN, the Philippines is the only one championing the creative economy. ASEAN member states view it differently, but the Philippines sees it as an opportunity. That's why this year we intend to expand support to innovation ecosystems that will allow new ideas to flourish, new ideas to emerge. And fifth, and I think this is most important, build for the long term. Sustainability is no longer an option. It is what separates the businesses that last from the ones that don't. These are not abstract principles. They are choices you can start today. Because while governments, like the Philippines, while we create frameworks, it is entrepreneurs such as yourselves that create momentum. So what are the frameworks that the government is pursuing this year? Well, the Philippines has set, a very ambitious agenda. We have set 19 priority economic deliverables, or PEDs. This includes AI, MISMI support, strategic trade management, creative industries, up to sustainable agriculture. I will not bore you with what those 19 are, very easily Googleable. And we will share some information for you to read through if you are interested in more details. But what we would like to impress to everyone is that these frameworks, their success does not depend on those negotiating, those developing them. It's not just up to governments. Their success depends on whether they are used. Test them, build them, improve them. For example, the ASEAN Single Window. It is essentially an online platform where you can file your import and export documents online. You don't have to go to the Bureau of Customs to apply for forms and permits. You don't need to get a physical copy of the form and fill it out. You do it online. You save money, you save time. Regrettably, the ASEAN Single Window, or ASW, the Philippines is one of the lowest utilizers of this mechanism. I'm not sure why Filipinos still love paper, but we are moving to the digital economy. So we encourage everyone to look at the ASEAN Single Window, get registered, use this. Do not go to the Bureau of Customs every day, every time you have to import or export. That's not the way to do things. So test these frameworks, build on them, improve them, use them. Now let me leave you with something practical. Before this summit ends, talk to someone from another ASEAN country, from a dialogue partner. Don't just exchange business cards. Don't just get each other's IG handles, but do share ideas. Find one small point of collaboration. And when you leave this room, set one goal for yourself. How do you expand beyond your home market? How do you go ASEAN? Not someday. Aim to do it within the year. Because if you wait for perfect conditions, you will miss the moment that ASEAN is being built. And understandably, you will need support. That is what the Department of Trade and Industry is for in the Philippines. But more than that, ASEAN has programs that are able to fund projects. There are training facilities. There are so many programs. Because there are too many, it is confusing. So if you have any questions, feel free to approach the DTI here in the Philippines and your respective ministries of trade and industry back home. Use them. They were made for you. Now, in closing, years from now, you may not remember every panel or every speech from the summit. You will most likely not remember me. What you will remember, a conversation that changed your direction. A partnership that you started here in Laguna, be it over beer, over coffee, or over lunch. You will remember an idea you decided to pursue because someone in this room challenged you to think about it better. Think bigger. And you may also remember that moment when you just stopped and thought, how do I make my local business ASEAN? Those moments will happen here, I am sure. And I'm sure some people shaping ASEAN's future are already in this room. So make sure to shake everybody's hands and get a photo because you don't know, 3, 5, 10 years from now, they may be the head of state of their country. So the question is, are you ready? The Philippines, together with other ASEAN member states, stand ready to work with all of you under the banner of the ASEAN Economic Community. We are here to support your ideas, to connect you across borders, to create the conditions to make your ambitions grow. Because ASEAN's future will not be built in conference rooms. It's not going to be in our boring meetings, 9 to 9, where we argue over so many things. It will be built by those who go beyond borders when they have the chance. So build boldly, collaborate widely, and think beyond borders starting today. Mabuhay, everyone. Let us keep navigating our future together. And I think, as earlier said, let us build our future together. So before I end, let me just congratulate the organizers of the ASEAN Youth Business Summit 2026. What you have achieved here, bringing together youth, investors, policymakers across the region is truly inspiring. The event itself is a model of collaboration, energy, vision, and hope. So congratulations, everyone. Thank you again for inviting the Department of Trade and Industry. We look forward to the outcomes of this event, and we will make sure to keep you all in mind as we navigate our future together. Remember, sail ASEAN. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to stand here today. As an e-bike manufacturer, we are providing green and affordable mobility solution to more than 100 countries. We save your money, save your pocket, and save the planet. Special in the responding to today's oil crisis. But today, we are gathering with the most outstanding entrepreneurs from all over the world. My topic is to explore new opportunity for the film and television culture cooperation between China and ASEAN. China and ASEAN, we are not most than just neighbors. We are partners connected by deep cultural bonds. As a major cultural power, China film and television market has now surpassed North America to become the largest in the world. ASEAN is home to the world's largest and youngest consumer base. Together, we mark up the largest, most dynamic audiovisual market on this planet. In the past, traditional Chinese film and movie is often limited to be strict approval by persist from our Chinese government, resulting in very limited overseas market share. However, the rise of short dramas has completely switched to the paradigm. Today, China's short drama market has fully opened. Empowered by the AI technology, this format has already exploded in North America. Here in ASEAN, we are with our close culture times, the Blue Ocean just beginning. Seizing the governance of the Web3 and AI, we are also launching a new platform named Remark, integrating the short drama plus branding and plus e-commerce. Our mission is we end up being more outstanding Asian the cinematic work to be the global stage. Through this our platform, we will bring the China success short drama experience to ASEAN. We look forward to taking this opportunity to cooperation with you and build a brilliant future together. Thank you.
Okay, distinguished guests, respected leaders, and dear my friends, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Hiromi Aoki, the current chairman of Young Entrepreneurs Group of Asia Pacific, which has been operating under the umbrella of CASI, the Confederation of Asian Pacific Chamber of Commerce Industry. It is my great honor today to speak on the topic about ASEAN and Japan youth cooperation, which is not only important but very, very essential for our shared future. By the way, I also serve as the head of International Relations of Japan Young Entrepreneurs Group, which is the biggest young entrepreneurs organization in Japan right now. There are more than 33,000 active members across Japan, from Hokkaido to Okinawa. Back in 2024, it was 50th anniversary year for ASEAN and Japan Friendship Cooperation. At that time, I was International Business Committee Chair, and thanks to Mr. Romel and Arias, Japan YG signed an MOU with Philippine Young Entrepreneurs Association, PYEA. You're always my brother in the Philippines. Today, ASEAN and Japan stand at historic crossroads because this year is very special. It's the 70th anniversary year for our diplomatic relations between Philippines and Japan. So which makes me even grateful to be here today. As you may know, ASEAN is one of the fastest growing regions in the world. It's so dynamic and it's so useful and plenty of the possibility. And Japan, on the other hand, carried deep experience and I could say advanced technology and a strong commitment to the stability and quality. And also we are so famous for like Pokemon, Captain Tsubasa, and Slam Dunk, as you may know that. But more importantly, we share something deeper, a common belief in the partnership and trust and the long-lasting relationships. However, let me be clear. The future of ASEAN and Japan relation will not be defined by government alone, nor will be shaped only by large cooperation, but it will be built by us. Build us, young entrepreneurs. Please remember that. We are faster and we are more flexible, and we're not limited by borders in the way previous generations were. And at the YEGAP, we believe that collaboration must move beyond the words and into action. I went to almost all ASEAN countries last year in order to stimulate among ASEAN young entrepreneurs. Allow me to highlight 3 key areas where ASEAN and Japan youth can collaborate more deeply. First, definitely business collaboration. We must create a real, tangible business connection, not just networking. It is very interesting when we have some beer party, but also it's not that we need to make something real business. Imagine Japan SM is partnering with ASEAN startups, ASEAN companies expanding into Japan with local support, cross-border supply chains built by young entrepreneurs. To achieve this, we must build trusted platforms where members can connect not only by industry, but by intention to sell, to buy, to invest, to cooperate. Second, human capital and talent mobility. As you may know, Japan faces a serious labor shortage. which is one of the biggest social issues that we are facing with right now. That's why our MOFA, our Ministry of Trade Economy, we are accepting more and more people from ASEAN countries. So ASEAN, as we mentioned, ASEAN is reaching young and ambitious talent. But this is not the challenge. This is also a huge opportunity for us. So we must build systems where ASEAN youth can work and grow in Japan, and the skills are transferred both ways, and the cultural understanding in strength. Because true collaboration is not only about the business, it is always about the people. When we talk about international business, friendship actually really matters. You know that. Third, shared values and leadership. Economic growth alone is not enough. We must ask ourselves, what kind of future are we building? Because our world has been changing so rapidly, whether you like it or not. But most importantly, what kind of future we want. In Japan, we have a philosophy from Eiichi Shibusawa. You know, this is Japanese currency, ichiman. And him, the Mr. Eiichi Shibusawa, he's a father, well known as the father of modern Japanese economy. And also he's a founder of Japan Chamber of Commerce industry. And he says the unity of morality and economy is important. We all love money, but capitalism is not enough. And in ASEAN, we see strong values of community, respect, and resilience. If we combine these values, we can create a new model of leadership, one that balances profit with purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, EAGAP has already begun this journey. We are connecting youth organizations across more than 20 economies. And actually, Mr. Romel and Aries is also our EAGAP members. Especially Romel is a past immediate our chair, and Aries is our executive vice chair. But this is only the beginning. The next step is not just the cooperation, it is co-creation. That's very important. So let me close with a simple but powerful message. We're not just neighbors. We are not just the partners. We are family. I've been holding this slogan, one nation, one family. So together, let us build a future, not separately, but side by side. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Aoki. Let's give him a warm round of applause.
Thank you very much for the generous introduction. So, good morning, everyone. Yeah. Right. It's great to be here with government leaders and the leaders from across the Philippines and ASEAN. This room represents the future of trade in our region. So please let me start with something very simple. Every business we run, every product that we use, moves through a supply chain. Most of the time, we don't see it. But when it works, everything flows. And when it doesn't, oh, we really feel it. At DP World, our purpose is simple. We make trade flow. Because when trade flows, businesses grows, investments increases, and economies move forward. DP World started in 1972 as a port operator in Dubai. Today, We operate in over 70 countries, handling close to 100 million containers globally, and that is 10% of global trade. And what we learned is this: businesses today do not just need a port. Businesses today needs a partner. So, we built our business around that idea. We bring together ports and terminals, logistics, marine services, and technology. With over 80 terminals, more than 200 freight forwarding offices, and 400 vessels globally, not as separate services, but as one connected system. Because in reality, every shipment starts at a factory and ends with a customer. If one step slows down, everything else is affected. That's the reality businesses deal with every day. So, what we do is to connect that entire journey from origin to destination through freight forwarding, landside logistics, contract logistics, market access, parks and terminals, NVOCC, and most importantly, supply chain management. So your operations becomes faster, more reliable, and more predictable. DP World is present across all continents. We have over 125,000 people globally. But our strength is not size. It's how we connect global networks to local markets. And that's exactly what we are doing here in the Philippines. We are bringing global capability into one integrated system. It's simpler to manage, it's stronger to operate, and it's more reliable for your business. At the center of this, in the Philippines, is Asian Terminals Incorporated, or it's commonly known as ATI. ATI is managing key gateways for container, non-containerized, rolling cargoes, and passengers. This is where trade enters and leaves the country. For nearly 40 years, ATI has supported Philippine trade. Now, as part of DP World, it connects the Philippines directly to global markets. Our network spans Manila Port, Batangas, Tanza Cavite, Laguna, and Mindanao, giving us a nationwide reach and direct access to key production and consumption zones. Together, ATI provides ports and terminals services only, while DP World provides end-to-end logistics that includes freight forwarding, warehousing, inland terminals, transport, and barge solution. One system, not fragmented providers. Manila South Harbor is our flagship gateway. It's a 2 million TEU container terminal, a 1 million metric ton general cargo facility, plus logistics and warehouse support. This is your direct link to global trade. What makes the difference is integration. We connect port operations with freight, logistics, and container management. So, cargoes moves faster, stays shorter, and becomes more predictable. That means less risk for your business. We also extend the port inland through Tanza Container Terminal, bringing cargo closer to Cavite and Laguna. This reduces congestion and shortens delivery distance. So the flow becomes very simple. Ship to port, to barge, to terminal, and to your factory. Fewer delays, less complexity, more control. Our Batangas facility provides a second major gateway to south of Manila, with capacity of over 600,000 TEUs and 250,000 vehicles, including about 70% of the country's imported cars. This gives you flexibility and reduces dependence on a single port. More importantly, Batangas works as an integrated ecosystem, connecting international shipping, logistics processing, and domestic distribution to Visayas and Mindanao. So, cargoes move smoothly from global routes to local markets and vice versa for exports. For industries located here in this province of Laguna and, of course, Batangas, this is critical because many operate on a just-in-time supply chain, and reliability is everything. With inland connections, cargo moves faster and production stays stable. Another very good example is automotive logistics. From vessel to yard to final delivery, everything is coordinated. The result, it's faster, it's safer, and more predictable movement for the automotive industry. And this is really where logistics is heading: connectivity. When ports, transport, shipping, and data work as one, supply chains becomes faster, more resilient, and easier to manage. And that's what we are building through ATI and DP World, connecting global gateways to inland logistics so you can move your cargo efficiently, scale your business, and stay competitive. So please let me close with this. Every container that we handle represents a business, an idea, a future. At DP World, we do not just move cargo. We turn ports into possibilities. We connect trade. We enable growth. From ports to possibilities. We would love to invite you to our booth to engage with us today on how best we can help you with your logistics chain. With this, we thank you very much for inviting us today.
Good day to everyone, distinguished guests, fellow visionaries, and the vibrant heartbeat of the youth of the future. Well, these are the youth entrepreneur of the ASEAN, and you are, I can say, the future of the world. Well, I'm standing here looking at the sea, or the group of innovators, policymakers, startup founders, And I just don't see a crowd here. I am seeing people who are willing to learn, who are very resilient and very uh, ambitious, as I will say. Well, we are the architects of the ASEAN century. We are part of this region that refuses to be stagnant, I believe. A region who thrives of resilience, and a region that currently the most exciting economic frontier of the planet. I am Sue Geminiano, the corporate marketing head of Hotel Sogo, and I understand it is not common for everyone that Hotel Sogo is a hotel, and I am gonna tell you a story. This is a short story, not just about the brand, but it's about the philosophy. This is a story of how a homegrown Filipino company transformed into a number one fastest growing lodging business in the Philippines, and in the future it would be international. Now I am boasting 52 branches nationwide of Hotel Sogo. And I want to give a bit of information why Hotel Sogo stayed relevant to the world of the giants. By thinking small, acting fast, and dreaming smart. And this is the sachet philosophy. The sachet philosophy is the business model where I can say we sell the service, we offer the service that in short and in sachet increments. You will see in this current world, not only here in the Philippines, but internationally, the sachet increment of the business like shampoos, coffee, even cigarettes, and even the mobile loads. They were sold in a short and sachet increments in a small quantity. And through this, we are giving our stakeholders this accessibility, affordability, and flexibility. Now, we applied this business model into hospitality. We realized that quality rest and a place to sleep is not only offered to a high scale of businessmen or high scale people, economic class. It shouldn't be a luxury. It should be offered with a 5-star hotel quality of service to people in a mid-scale businessman, and even to everyone who would be needing rest and who would be needing an overnight, a decent place to sleep. Now, as a startup founders, look at your business. Are you building a wall, or are you building a bridge? This story came up from the founders of Hotel Sogo when they dreamed and realized that they want Hotel Sogo to be available to all Filipino who would want to experience a 5-star hotel business. Now, rather than a few, you don't just build a customer. You build a movement. And at Hotel Sogo, you build memories. That movement has scaled to 52 branches, proving that small increments lead to a massive growth. However, being accessible is not enough. Having this digital transformation all over the world, Hotel Sogo may be a household name from a tradition of a motorist hotel. We are currently leading the charge into the future, and we are the pioneers of Internet of Things. I would say we are the pioneer of innovation because way back 2016, 2009, we already pioneered providing international calls all over the world. Once you check in at Hotel Sogo, you can call your relatives and family members in different countries for free. We were also the first ones who innovated having a delivery of food and beverage using a Segway, the one wheel, and the skateboards. We were also one and the first who offered free Wi-Fi service in the Philippines for different establishments. So I may say we are a pioneer in terms of innovation. And now we were the first hotel who offered the IoT, AI Tech Concept Rooms. This is the Internet of Things. The AI Tech Concept Room is what we built to show the people and the public the future of hotels. This is where, upon entering, you will be having a self-check-in kiosk, a virtual assistant who will be at your service, and we call her Sogo Aiko. It's Aiko because AI, artificial intelligence, and it is yours. In Filipino, when we say ko, sa akin, and it is ours. So, having said that, this is the first hotel, I believe, who offered voice command service to personalize the ambience, to have and personalize your music as well as the movie that you're going to watch inside the hotel, to open and close the light, and to open and close the curtains. And also, for us, consistency actually is the most underrated trait in the business. You can have the best IoT tech in the world, but the core of our business, the clean and the good, if that fails, the business will never be successful. Well, the tech won't save you. The youth leaders would actually find where your business is really going, the core value of your business. And our brand promise is the simple four words, so clean, so good. In any businesses, we have this tagline, and that is what we live for. What we offer is a so clean facility and so good service coming from the staff. Now, for us, the business that only makes money is a poor business. For you, future leaders and policymakers, we have the responsibility to our community. And that brings us to our heart for our company to have Sogo Cares. This is our corporate social responsibility program, and it's just not a footnote of our annual report, or it is a pillar of our identity. Well, through Sogo Cares, we provide humanitarian relief, medical missions, and a support during calamities. Well, when the Philippines faces challenges, be it typhoons or health crises, Hotel Sogo doesn't just lock indoors, but we open our hearts. We believe that the fastest growing title is meaningless if we aren't also the fastest responders. So to those in need, we are here, and we are also showing this to all of you to be an inspiration that each and every one of us, wherever we are, from whatever countries you are now, you will be building business and you will be inspired in helping people in your community. So don't wait until you became billionaires before helping other people. We can start now. The purpose is the fuel. This care that we are offering to our community is the fuel that will keep you going when the market gets tough. Well, as I conclude, I look at the theme of the ASEAN Youth Business Summit, and I feel immense of sense of pride. The Philippines is a nation of 7,000 islands. But through Hotel Sogo, we found a way to connect in 52 points. Our 52 branches to light through a shared vision of excellence. ASEAN is a region of diverse cultures, but we are connected by a shared hunger for progress. To the investors, look at the scale of what is possible when you combine the sachet philosophy with IoT innovation. And to the youth, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to disrupt. Do not be afraid to start small. At Hotel Sogo, we started with a vision to provide a clean, safe, and good place for everyone. Today, we are the leaders of the industry. Be bold, be innovative, and more, be compassionate. Keep your ethics so clean and your impact so good. Thank you, and may the ASEAN youth lead the way to a brighter future. Thank you so much.
Was observed again, I am Attorney Patrick Maglinaw, the National President of JCI Philippines. So today I was asked to talk about the role of JCI in business and entrepreneurship. Sorry, umuuya pa ako. Tinawag ako. Okay. So just a 5-minute talk. Everyone knows what is JCI? JCI is a leadership organization that is composed of 18 to 40 years of age. So believe it or not, all members of JCI here are below 40 years old. We may not look like one, but we are below 40 years old. Okay? So I'd like to talk about the role of JCI in entrepreneurship and business. No? So Junior Chamber International is more than just a leadership organization. It is a powerful platform that helps young people become better entrepreneurs, innovators, and business leaders. So in JCI, we have 4 areas of opportunities. Now, one of our areas of opportunities is business and entrepreneurship. Okay? So in a world where opportunities are constantly evolving, JCI equips its members with the mindset, skills, and network needed to succeed. So first, JCI develops entrepreneurial skills. Through trainings, workshops, and real-world projects, members learn how to think critically, solve problems, and take initiative. Entrepreneurship is not just about starting a business. It's about seeing opportunities where others see challenges. JCI creates an environment where members can practice these skills in a safe but dynamic setting. Second, JCI provides valuable networking opportunities. So as you can see, there are JCI members here from other countries. So welcome to all of you. One of the biggest advantages in business is knowing the right people. In JCI, you connect with professionals, mentors, and fellow entrepreneurs from different industries and even different countries. These connections can lead to partnerships, collaborations, and even lifelong business relationships. Third, JCI encourages innovation and community-based entrepreneurship. Many successful businesses today are built not just for profit, but also for purpose. Businesses nowadays, they need vision to operate sustainably. Okay? JCI projects often focus on solving real community problems, whether it's sustainability, education, or economic development. This helps members develop businesses that are both profitable and socially responsible. And fourth, JCI builds confidence and leadership. Running a business requires courage, communication, and decision-making. By leading projects and working in teams, JCI members gain hands-on leadership experience That directly translates into managing teams, handling clients, and making strategic decisions in business. And finally, JCI promotes a global mindset. In today's interconnected world, entrepreneurs must think beyond local markets. JCI exposes members to international perspectives, helping them understand difficult cultures, markets, and business practices, an essential advantage in scaling any business. So in conclusion, JCI plays a vital role in shaping entrepreneurs by developing skills, expanding networks, fostering innovation, building leadership, and encouraging a global outlook. It is not just an organization, it is a training ground for future business leaders. So if you are someone who dreams of starting or growing a business, JCI is a place where those dreams can begin and grow into a reality. Okay, so if you want to join JCI, you just ask the members who are here present today. And if you want to connect and use the network of our organization, you are free to do so, no? Because we are a leadership organization and we also practice and encourage entrepreneurship regardless of if you are a startup or if you are already how many years in the business. So again, thank you and congratulations, by the way, to San Pedro Portal Key for this successful event.
Once again, thank you very much, Mr. Patrick Maglinaw, for the plenary address. Again, the National President of JCI Philippines. At this point, we would like to give your award, the Leadership Award, to be awarded, of course, by Mr. Romel Herodias and Mr. Aris Balanay. Let's give him a warm round of applause.
Before anything else, so just to give you at least an idea on our topic right now, so this discussion on cross-border growth and market access aims to explore how ASEAN youth-led business can overcome barriers to regional expansion and tap into full potential of the ASEAN economic community. By fostering collaboration, enhancing digital capabilities, and strengthening support system, we can empower the next generation of entrepreneurs to build a resilient and competitive and globally relevant enterprises. To explain more about this topic, let me introduce our ASEAN youth leaders. As you called your name, please share your brief introduction about yourself and the history that you represent. So let me call first the representative from Indonesia, Sarasin Sogomo. Yeah.
The COC of the event, I see NP Patrick. So, good afternoon. My name is Sarasin Sugomo. From an organization standpoint, I am a member of JCI as well. My position in JCI is I am the current chairperson of Asia Pacific Development Council, where we establish our JCI movements within countries in the Asia and the Pacific. Currently under our portfolio are JCI Thailand, JCI Myanmar, Sri Lanka, JCI Uzbekistan, JCI Laos, and JCI Timor-Leste. And we are always looking to further expand our movements in the future. And professionally, I do my business back home in Indonesia in logistics out of Jakarta. and we have a venture of gold mining in northern Sulawesi, Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's call on
COC team. Hello, everybody. My name is Chit Quang Dong Thao, but I go by Thao Trin. And I'm delighted to be here today on joining with our first panel for this session. And it's been wonderful being here. I am a member of JCI Vietnam from JCI South Saigon, and this year I am a local president for the chapter. Professionally, I work in education. I established international schools in Vietnam, and I am looking forward to connecting and learning a lot more about all of our friends and businesses here and sharing a lot of knowledge together. Thank you very much.
What time is it now? It's noon time now. Okay, good afternoon. Kim Suo from Cambodia. I'm the Vice President of Young Entrepreneur Association, in charge of international relations. Also, I'm the founder of my own company. It's called Suki Investment. We do invest by our own company as well, not outside company yet. We do invest in property developer, hospitality, and education. Nice to see you all. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Weda Ekaterina, so you can call me Catherine, and I'm from Japan. Yes, I know that I'm not look like Japanese person, thanks to my mom, maybe. And when people ask me, why are you so red? So to kids, I answer that I like strawberries. But for adults, maybe too much red wine. So nice to meet you, everyone. And I'm a vice chair of Japan YEG Global Network Committee. We have about 32,000 members in Japan YEG and more than 400 chapters. So, and we are looking forward to connections with all of you in the future. And I'm actually a vice chair of IAGAP, Young Entrepreneurs Group of Asia Pacific, together with Mr. Hiromi Aoki. So it's organization of 28 countries. So, and I'm looking here to talk to you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon and namaste. My name is José Rizal and I'm representing Nepal. I'm also serving as a General Secretary of NRNA Philippines chapter, whereas NRNA is Non-Residential Nepalese Association, which primarily works with Philippine Nepalese diaspora living abroad and young entrepreneurs, connecting them with their home country and their country they're residing at. My background was always international. My early childhood I spent in Russia, moved to Nepal, where I completed my high school, and then I moved here to the Philippines for my undergrads. And currently I'm working in pharmaceutical industries as a BDM, which helped me to explore the international markets as well as learn the importance of cross-border understandings, as well as the issues that many people get but they avoid it. So I hope to learn from all of you, and I'm happy to be in this panel and share my knowledge and also learn from everyone here. Thank you.
Right. So what is the biggest barrier to cross-border expansion for youth and led enterprises in ASEAN today? So, sorry. So for my opening question, so what is the biggest barrier to cross-border expansion for youth-led enterprises in ASEAN today? Ladies first?
Ladies first.
Okay.
I think the biggest barrier usually would be having a scalable system, having cross-border experiences, and also having the institutional support that supports you when entering a country. Institutional support meaning from the government side, as well as your partnership, as well as your relationship within the country you're expecting to be crossing into. Thank you.
Thank you. So,
I think that it's not regulation or funding. Usually it's a gap between, like understanding or misunderstanding of difference in culture. So I think that our young entrepreneurs need to learn that our how to build trust and how to build business culture is very different in each country. So that gap of understanding may make a barrier. So you need to learn, understand, and respect different culture, and it will help you in any situations you're trying to do. Thank you.
Right, just to repeat what Ms. Catherine said, it's more about the culture of a specific ethnicity or a specific group. For Ms. Tao, it's more on the support of the government. We're talking about the local government, at the same time, the private organization as well. Yeah? So, who's next? All right.
So I guess from my perspective, coming in from Indonesia, I think all those things are valid, what Tao and Katerina has mentioned, but I think it's also an issue of like mindset when it comes to the younger generations. I think the previous speaker was saying about having the expansion of digital economy, right? So it's essentially making it a borderless economy for especially the ASEAN region, But at least in Indonesia, when it comes to digital economy, you're seeing the bubble is starting to burst a little, when it comes to several things that have unfolded. So the barrier will always be there, albeit it's invisible. So it's all about mindset, and then also what we also have to remember and not to forget to discount is that a lot of it is because we want to create job opportunities in our own economy as well. So it's about having the ability, but it's also about having the willingness to actually expand into the region, right? Because Indonesia in itself is a very big economy even for the domestic players as well. Even for the big conglomerates, Indonesia it's quite the market, right? So for the SMEs and the younger entrepreneurs such as myself, it's all about having that mindset as well as a willingness to actually want to expand, right? So, yeah.
All right, so you're talking about the generational gap between the boomers, the Gen Z, the Gen Alpha, the XYZ, and then as a young leader, you need at least to somehow link those kind of eras for us to move forward and somehow growth in terms of the borders that we want to push. All right, so who's next?
Hi. For me, I think one of the cross-border expansions barrier in ASEAN is having good local partnership. Because I'm coming from the regulatory industry with pharmaceuticals, so I have experienced lots of issue with jumping in the new market without understanding the business structure, understanding regulatory as well as market structure in a country. So having a local partnership in that particular country will help a new for expansions way better, because they will help you to understand the market, reduce your critical mistakes, which might will cost you financial losses, as well as help you to expand it in a systematic way without any issue with local regulatory and as well as requirements as per the government.
I see. So local partnership is very important, especially in Nepal, because if you want to grow beyond the Nepal borders, you want to start first on the local industry that you are belong to. All right. And
Okay, I'm the last. They speak all what I want to speak. So I think no need to speak. Okay, just to add on a little bit, we all talk about culture, relation, network. Yeah, I totally agree. But the question for me is, maybe answer is question, a question is answer. Okay, how you find a trusted partner? The outside look, we can create people now. Who you want to know now, we can create quickly outside your country. But when you go inside your country, when in international, go to another country, is it quick to make trust or not? So building relation, it needs time. It needs time. Okay? A trusted platform. We have a lot of association here. Which association is a trusted association? It legal? It follow by law? Or just a small group of people? I am representative this. Check this carefully. The people you know is good. Network is good. But how that people in their country? Is it serious? They just come out? Maybe one we meet twice a year, once a year, or maybe 10 years we meet one time, and then you start something. So I said, in conclusion, I just say, it takes time. It takes time to build a real relation and trust. Find a real platform to make connection and stay focused. I think that's what I want to add on only. Okay.
All right. So, meaning to say that the basic or the fundamentals of having at least a growth when it comes to growth, to the borders, you need to build first the trust for you to somehow connect to other countries or within the local organization as well. All right. So, okay. So, next topic will be I have a question for each one of you. So, let's start with Indonesia. All right. Okay.
You are already.
So what is one reason Indonesian youth-led enterprise struggles to look beyond the domestic market? And what triggers the shift to regional expansion?
Oh, one question. Okay. Thank you, teacher.
I guess when it comes to have the word struggle, I think there will always be the struggle in the sense that there will be something lacking when it comes to opportunities, when it comes to the market itself, right? And then also capital, as well as the necessary support from the relevant institutions of the government, right? So those things combined, or those things in itself, could also be a deterrent for business players to expand regionally beyond our own borders. But I think what I want to point out is that in Indonesia, we are currently undergoing amidst of our current administration, where our president wants us to focus on our economy, when it comes to having job creation, and then when it comes to having additional investments from local players within Indonesia. So just a basic summary, I think in the whole of 2025, of all the total investments that are happening in Indonesia, I think domestic investment accounts for more than half. I think that is a record in itself. So I think the youth especially has been taking note, and then they also are quite eager to take part, a more active role and partake in all these smaller investments that are happening within the island of Java, as well as the outer islands within our map. And then there's also a focus on investments in the downstream processes to create value in the supply chain of various sectors within Indonesia. So that's what I want to focus on. It's the mindset rather than the struggles, right? Because the struggle will always be there even 10 years from now, right? And they vary, right? From time to time, as I said, market opportunities capital, local partner, right? So are all crucial and all very relevant, right, in itself. So yeah, so I think it's all about the mindset and the willingness to expand, right, beyond our borders. So, and then the shift, I guess, when it comes to digital economy, two ventures stand out for me when it comes to Indonesia expanding regionally and globally. I think when it comes to similar to Grab, we have a similar venture called Gojek in Indonesia, right? I think the founders were even classmates in Harvard. I think so. Obviously, experience varying rate of success, but that's irrelevant. But what matters is that I think the shift and the expansion is due to needs of scaling up, right? Because I think in their cases is that they need to scale to attract more investments, right? I think that's the name of the game, right? Where they focus on growth as opposed to focusing on the bottom line. So that called the need to expand. And then other than Gojek, I think also there's a coffee startup called Kopi Kenangan from Indonesia. I think they've expanded as we speak to parts within Malaysia, Singapore, the Philippines. So also a big success story, a startup, and I think it's considered a unicorn now as we speak. So yeah, those two are the ones that stood out. So I think when it comes to their own expansion regionally and globally, I think because the focus and was different because they needed to expand to scale and to attract more investment, whereas I myself come from a more conventional business where we have to focus on our bottom line. So yeah, so it's a matter of perspective itself. Yeah. Thank you.
I see. So basically, for Indonesia, you're looking for the transport sector and coffee sector that will somehow bridge the gap when it comes to the connection between the ASEAN countries. So you're looking forward to somehow grow it beyond Indonesia market, right?
Yeah, I mean, but just so happens that they are venturing in transport and coffee, but it's because they're startups, right? Because they needed to expand to grow for their valuation, right? But when it comes to more conventional businesses, right, where you have to focus on the bottom line, sometimes it's a lot more trickier, right? Because you have to focus on margins as opposed to just blind valuation. That's what I meant. So when it comes to expansion, I think it's more calculative when it comes to taking into account all the various risks involved, right? When it comes to expanding itself. So yeah.
All right. So thank you for your answer. So next question is for Ms. Vietnam. So in a fast-scaling ecosystem like Vietnam, what is the biggest challenge when transition from local dominance to regional competitiveness?
Okay. So I think for the environment of any countries or any businesses that are looking to go cross-border because they have been successful locally and now they want to be competitive in the regional market, I'd say there are kind of three keywords that I might say might be relevant to Vietnamese is GTC. G is for growth, T is translations, and C is for culture. So when I talk about growth, I mean it's having more to do with institutional growth. So these are policies and regulations that the government has in place. For example, in the case of Vietnam, our food production, medical care, as well as product quality control has recently been has a lot of changes in policies and regulations. So this has been for around 1 to 2 years where we have, the government has upped the standards and the laws and regulations for some of these industries so that they align with the international standards. And what that means for a lot of the local businesses is that now they have to make sure that all of their products and all of their qualities are on par with what the government is putting out there as a requirement. And so when they do that, they will then align with the international standards and is more professionalized coming in. So the nice thing about G, letter G, growth, is that the government has already put that in place for a lot of the businesses. So they kind of have that tick off when they want to be competitive regionally. The next challenge, I'd say, is translation. When I say translation, I mean how if you are in your country and you've been very successful locally, it may not be the same when you go out into another country, when you're entering another country. Let's say business model, for example. In Asia, we are quite reliant. For example, I can definitely say so for Vietnam. When you work in Vietnam, it's very much relationship driven. That means that you're relying a lot on your relationship and your partners. You know, even a lot of us probably understand. You probably even go to a beer store or go to a restaurant, and that's where business is being done. That's the case in Vietnam. I don't know if that's the same with a lot of you, but that's how it is in Vietnam. But when you're thinking about doing this cross-cultural work, you're probably going to have a lot more strict and more structured relationship-based work. That means that, you know, there are things that you probably can't do, like you can't probably sign at a restaurant, but you need to be more professional in that sense. And then also, the same could be said about brand and positioning. You know, you can't have so much so as a local relevance anymore, but now you're going to be bringing your local brand outwards into different places, and then also having them understanding and kind of selling that to the new country that you're entering as well. And then the last one, which I think is by far the most important, is C, which is culture. You know, this means relationship, trends, partnership that are in the country, and understanding what your brand means when you're entering the country. And I think that's extremely important, because you're not just working with your local people, but you have to understand where you're going. You need to do research, and the most important thing is finding the right partnership and relationship in that country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, wait, just to give you an idea, the Vietnam people, after the Vietnam War, the Vietnam people came here in the Philippines to study how to plant rice. Here, especially in Los Baños. So, 50 years, after 50 years, Vietnam is one of the highest producer of rice in the Philippines. I know it better because I work in the port. So I saw the number of container vans and ships coming from Vietnam. So, equivalent also, she said also, their government is supporting their growth, especially on the agricultural sector. So that's how the Vietnam government bridged or somehow solved the gap between the ASEAN countries as well. So yeah, so every rice that you can eat here in the Philippines maybe came from Vietnam. Just, all right. So for Mr. Kim Surlai, so my question is, what's the ecosystem gap in Cambodia that makes cross-border scaling significantly harder for SMEs or subject matter experts?
Okay, thank you. I didn't prepare anything. and then I just get a question from Catherine. And then I try to chant my GPT. And then finally I found the answer. This is the strategy of our YEAC. Okay? The ecosystem gap is the strategy of our YEAC to solve this problem and to support our government. We know Cambodia is open market. We just changed our top country, the Prime Minister, 2 years. We changed a lot. And then we think about the gap, it means the opportunity. Where it have the problem, it needs the opportunity to solve. Cambodia is like I said, the golden opportunity now. So our YEAC set like 2030 strategy. So what is your gap? The first of our strategy is finance. Cambodia have opportunity, have a creative idea, but we are lacking of finance. So one of strategy is finance, access to finance. We create a program to support our young people to have the way to access to investor to find fund support. So this is one gap you can looking for opportunity. The second one is about skilled labor. A lot of factories set up in Cambodia now. We have young labor, around 85% of people under 35. So this is opportunity, train them to be an expert to support your production in Cambodia. Policy, old policy cannot apply with this situation. So we do develop, advocate, change the regulation in the country. So four, about open market, we have the product, we have the raw material, we are expert in agriculture to export. This is another opportunity. So the four is the main. So I think the 4 point is the gap. You're looking for this, you can make the change and create the big opportunity. Thank you.
I see.
And
So-
the last one, don't forget about the culture. As Cambodia is how to say, one of the oldest country. We have a rich history. Whatever you do, it's controlled by old people before. It's hard to change. So must be learn and adapt for this point. Okay, thank you.
All
Answer
right,
you,
thank you very much, Mr. Akinser. So, you talk about the funds of the government, the support from the government in terms of funds, and then you also mentioned the skilled service or the skilled labor that you want, because nowadays, among the ASEAN countries, I think Cambodia is also catching up when it comes to manufacturing plants. So we all know the top manufacturing plants here in the Philippines is, here in the ASEAN is Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines. However, you also mentioned that you need also an open market to bridge the gap. And lastly, you need to start with your own self, which is the culture. So you want at least to somehow modernize the culture of Cambodia for you to somehow open the market when it comes to other investors. Oh, all right. Thank you so much. And then for Ms. Katerina, so for my question, what is the ASEAN youth business typically underestimate when trying to enter matured markets like Japan? It's a very interesting question because you're a matured market compared to other ASEAN countries. Yeah.
What young entrepreneurs need to be ready if they want to try Japan market, right? I think I can answer this question without ChatGPT. Okay. And I'd like to answer it from my own experience in Japan because I was not born in Japan and I opened my company. I started from zero and this year is actually 25 years. And now my business is the biggest in my area. Yes, from zero to like what I have now. So, and I think the first thing is like what you need to understand if you really want to try and get success there in Japan, it's time. It will take time. So for example, in Europe or in Russia, we can drink together tonight and we will start business tomorrow. In Japan, one time is not enough. Not enough. In different meanings, yes. But if you're continuing doing, and if you believe in what you are doing, it takes time, but then it will lead to your success. Then, second thing is patience. You need to be patient. If you can't, no way. Yes, so it's the thing like my friend told me when I came to Japan. And first I couldn't understand, like, what do you mean? But then through years, yes, you need to be patient and continue in doing that. So stability in what you are doing, it's really more important than speed. For Japanese people, not only speed, but stability, continuing and believing in what you're doing will show to them like that you're serious about it, and then they will follow you, they will do something with you, they will help you. Yes. And what else? Of course, relations. So it's more important than any transactions. relationship and the trust. And of course, it will take time too. So if you want to try it, you need to make good relations, trust, but trust not what you think about how you do it in your country, but how people do it in Japan. So like with not your rules, but understand rules and culture of Japan, respect it, and then build trust there. And I'm sure it will help you and lead to success in this interesting country. Yes.
Thank you. If I may, so how many years do you live in Japan right now?
25 years.
25 years. So from day one that you been there up to now, what are the changes that you saw when it comes to the Japanese culture? Sorry. So what are the changes that you saw from day one that you arrived from Japan up to now? What are the cultural changes that you saw, or significant change from the culture of Japanese people?
It's difficult to put in one sentence because actually these 25 years were so many changes. Because when I came to Japan many years ago, especially that south area I live now, there were like really no foreigners. And even like talking to me, a lot of people were surprised, you know, like they were not ready to, even I can speak Japanese, but still like, you know, so really like starting from zero on relations and helping, you know, like Japanese people to become open to any, you know, like foreign countries. But recently, like it changed a lot. There are so many foreigners in Japan, but you know, like again, you need to understand the culture and the way people are doing things, and then it will help you.
Yeah, so I think one of the lessons I learned from my Japanese counterparts when I was working in DHL supply chain, the never say die attitude of Japanese people. That's the thing that we're promoting right now when it comes to, we need to be accurate and precise on what they're doing right now, because that's the how we bridge the gap when it comes to the borders that we want to make. Thank you very much. And then last, for Mr. Sajal, so for founders or investors starting in a smaller ecosystem like Nepal, it is better to scale locally first or design for a cross-border from day one, and why?
Thank you for the questions. For the can I get one, please? Sorry. For the smaller ecosystem like Nepal, I think it's much. There's a local, since it's scaling locally, it's not very sustainable because there's a limited market. For what I will tell to founders back in Nepal, that whenever you start a business in Nepal or something like that, make sure you create a local base, strong local base, but at the same time, keep in mind that you need to expand cross-border. And whatever you do, you should have mindset that the product should work abroad as well, not in local. I have been, since I was in Russia and Nepal and Philippines, right, I have seen the different market structure, how it works. Coming from the small ecosystem market like Nepal and working in the Asian market, which is Philippines market, I will tell one thing, that from day one, no matter what you think, you should think of cross-border international expansion. And you also need to keep in mind that the things that works locally won't eventually work international market. And seeing Nepal being sandwiched between two market giants, that's China and India, nowadays our association, NRNA, is already working with the government to make sure that young entrepreneurs are already thinking ahead of a time to expand in the growing markets like China and India, as well as we're also planning to introduce our market to Asian's market and vice versa. That's all. Thank you.
I see. So more or less, you're telling us that for Nepal to grow and somehow address the gap with the ASEAN market, you want to start internationally, because on the local market is subject for improvement as well.
Not basically. It means they can have a local base, but since it's limited of being a small population and everything, when they create start a company, right, they need to think internationally as well, so they can expand fast. Because expanding without knowledge will hamper your expansion in cross-border things.
Just a follow-up question. So, what services or commodities you think Nepal can offer to ASEAN countries?
Right now, as like tourism is one, it's booming market, right? As well as we also venturing into ID. So right now, from the government's perspective, it's like 2 billions worth of like a market in Nepal has it, and we're also expanding to the cloud storage. So slowly, it will be all IT-based expansion in Nepal, and IT-based business will be the ones government is targeting at the moment.
I see. So, yeah, thank you very much. So, okay, this is also on an open table for everyone. So I will ask questions, and everyone can answer these questions. Feel free to answer it. So, my first question: if investors wants to enter a second ASEAN market in the next 12 months, what is the first move they should make? If a founder or investor wants to enter a second ASEAN market in the next 12 months, what is the first move they should make? This is an open question to everyone.
Okay, let me start with first. Okay. What should we do in the next 12 months if we want to enter ASEAN market? Okay. One, where you want to enter ASEAN? What country? Specific first. Who you want to work with? Through what channel? Make a real connection with that team. Don't be too much, just stay focused. Decide your specific purpose. And also ask about your product or your service. Is it fit to that market or not? So conclusion I can say is focus who you are, what you want. That's all.
Okay. Anything?
And then meet partners and build a relationship, yes? Through drinking together tonight.
For the fellowship, you're referring to the fellowship night? That's good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Already agree?
Oh, everyone is agreeing. Okay. So my next question, this is the last part. So we've heard that different constraints across markets is cross-border success more dependent on strategy, partnership, or timing? So there are 3 elements we need to somehow satisfy: strategy, partnership, or timing.
So in my opinion, it's relationship that matters the most. So that should be the priority because strategy gives you direction, timing gives you opportunity. But once you have those in place, it still won't be successful if you don't have the right people that you're working with. So when you're entering a country and without the right people who shares with you their local knowledge, understanding the culture, and then also fostering a good relationship that you can get things move along. I think relationship is the number 1 key priority that you should have when entering anywhere.
I see. So just a quick question. So what matters the most? Is the relationship within the investors or the value proposition that you're promoting?
I think it's the relationship that you're having inside that country that you're entering. So whether it's relationship with the government, relationship with each other, like businessmen or alike, or women alike, or it's even within communities like this. I think anything that helps you to understand who you're dealing with and what country you're dealing with. Yeah.
Okay, so you're more on the diplomatic side of the investors, something like that.
I wouldn't say necessarily diplomatic because your partner moving into the country needs to work for you as well.
All right. Any?
I think referring to the same question, I think between those 3 things, in my opinion, the first would have to be the partnerships, because I think the right partnership will help you to formulate your strategy. And then if you have those 2 things lined up, I think in a sense you can make your own timing, in my opinion. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So for my last question, so
Can I add something?
oh yeah, go ahead.
I heard all talk about the word partnership, right? Yeah, partnership. Outside your country, right? How about your inside your country? How many youth association we have in each country. You work the same way. This is my group, this is your group, that's all. Another group, you don't work together and then you want to go outside and work together. I think we should think about this together first before we start something outside. Be yourself before you start something new.
All right.
Okay, sorry if I say wrong, but too straight, I think.
So you're more on the focus sector, developing.
This is Kim Suo speak.
Yeah, so you're promoting more the focus sector within the country. All right. And yeah, for my last question, what is one non-obvious mistake of our investor or founders that make when expanding regionally? So what are the common mistakes that you think an investors or a founder doing it na? Yeah.
I think I can start. A lot of us make assumptions and we kind of underestimate what needs to be unlearned. So unlearn means that you have to get out of your comfort zone. What you've been doing in your local country may not apply elsewhere. So it's so easy to learn something new, but to unlearn something that you've always been doing, I think it's a lot more difficult when you're entering a new kind of environment.
All right, so you're more likely you just want to learn first the behavior of the specific industry or market before you promote something or before you offer something to those kind of target.
Well, you see yourself as like a blank piece of paper when you're entering somewhere new, right? You can't be doing whatever you are currently doing in your country.
You learn first before you promote.
Unlearn.
Unlearn. All right.
Yes.
And
I think it's the opposite to what she was saying. It's like, I think although we have to acknowledge the importance of adjusting, right, to the market that we are entering, but I think a key takeaway for me is that you also have to stick to your core and to what you're good at, right? Because that is what actually put you there in the first place, you know. So acknowledging all those things about having and the ability to adapt, right, as to the market that you're entering, but also not too much to a sense that you are alienating your core and your strength. So I think that's something to remind ourselves. Yeah.
all right. So before we end, thank you for your question. So before we end, at least can you say at least one word that describes ASEAN Youth today? This is for everyone. Yeah, just one word. One word. Yeah, one word. Or one sentence, yeah, it can be. The ASEAN Youth today. How do you? Yeah, the ASEAN Youth today. One word or one sentence before we end.
Want to start over there, Sancho? Yeah, we'll go. One word.
One word or one sentence is up to you. How about Asian Youth today?
One word, not one sentence.
One was okay.
They're ambitious.
Ambitious. Oh.
Balance between global vision with deep local respect.
Oh.
Global vision with deep local respect. Okay?
Trust. Finish.
Digital intelligence.
I think they're eager.
Eagerness. You're talking about eagerness. All right. Thank you very much. Let's wrap up our session for the panelists.
Once again, thank you very much, Mr. Vincent, Mr. Pascual, for being our moderator this afternoon. And of course, thank you to all our panelists from Indonesia, Mr. Sarasin Sogoma, from Vietnam, Trinh Quang Dong Thao, from Cambodia, Kim Sor Lai, from Japan, Katerina Yuwada, and from Nepal, Sahal Sretha. May I request everybody to please be here, of course, for photo opportunity.